Hey Blue Rockers, welcome to Blue Rocker Bash 2017. Connie Willis here, looking outside of Bear Creek. This is Carson, Washington, Alyssa's home, a beautiful area. She has hosted this event for us, and we are excited because people that you know and people you don't know are here for this bash. I appreciate that you're here. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. And hit that notification bell so you won't miss anything else. Now, this is outside of this beautiful cabin that we're living on, or living here for the week. Some people are inside, some people have tents by the bonfire. And I want you to see this place right now that I'm pointing at. Right behind all those trees, it's like 7 miles of wilderness. And right there, when people sit around the bonfire, they say that something comes down from those hills, those mountains, and stares. At least that's what they feel. And a lot of people said it unsolicited. So, next to Bigfoot Highway? I don't know. Maybe that'll happen with us. We'll definitely let you know. It's a beautiful area. And again, like I said, a lot of people are showing up here. And one of those people we just talked to a minute ago, Ron Morehead, but another person we've also talked to is Samantha Ellen Ritchie, and both of these people are here now together because they are big blue rockers. Hey, everybody, give the signal. That's the greeting.
Why did I do it? Oh, my Lord.
What is that? That's something totally different, dude. Don't even do that. This is G-rated or PG or R-rated. That goes beyond whatever. So we have Samantha Ellen Ritchie on the left, and we have Ron Morehead on the right. And traditionally, you guys will go, oh, they're all about forest friends and Bigfoot and this and that, Sierra Sounds and all that kind of stuff. And you've heard them, by the way. I put them both on Coast to Coast. I got to talk with them there. We had a great time. And also, they've both been on Blue Rock Talk as well. But I want you to know that this goes outside of the box of Bigfoot, because what we are doing, we're people that are trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And there's certain triggers that get you involved into the world of trying to find the answers. And some people it's forest friends, some people it's Bigfoot, some people it's, mediums and, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. But this is how they've gotten here, and we've all gotten together for the big Blue Rocker Bash 27. Now, Samantha has something really unique, and she's going to talk about that. And she's going to talk about it for the first time with Ron. So this is all new and fresh. Yeah, it's an exclusive here. So take it away, you guys.
Okay, well, I'm going to preface everything by saying what we got here is what led up to this. And let me give you a quick on that, is how does someone who's in the researching Bigfoot and all of a sudden you got, it's basically a radionics device, is getting into this, and what is the connection? For a long time, of course, I've been posting videos and pictures of the, when I go out, I've had interactions with the Sasquatch, and of course, I've been pretty good about taking some high resolution pictures and basically showing their images, though there's nobody's ever going to get the crystal clear picture of them, but I have definite, some really good pictures of them. And then, but that kind of led into some other things where a portal actually showed up, and I talked about this already from back in 2014, a giant orb, and so I've been seeing this connection between all sorts of beings, not just the Sasquatch, but then we're talking about, let's go down the path a little bit, and the cryptids, the things that are just seem invisible, little people, and the whole 9 yards, okay? So some things that led up this, and we started, in my research, I started talking about how I noticed color changes. The color changes into a very purple and then ultraviolet color and transition. And I associated that with the change of the quantum frequency. Like they're able to change their vibration or vibrate up and hence become invisible because we only see in a certain light spectrum. So they're able to get a little bit outside of it this way or in the infrared side. And so I've been theorizing that this is what's happening. And our limited perception, they're able to step outside of it. Well, one of the things I've been wondering about is what's the only thing that separates the Sasquatch from us is our DNA. Our DNA, if a physical being with their DNA can actually accomplish something like that, why can't we as humans? So I've been, one of the things I've actually had in my house was a spinning magnetic wheel I developed.
Is that the free energy?
7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Never did finish it completely, but it spins really fast, and it's got 9 neodymium magnets on it. Very powerful magnets. The thing will spin at about, I forgot, about 150 RPM. So I turned it on and one day, and I said, I've had it on different times, but I wanted to turn it on this time in my property and get near it, whatever. And then I noticed that something, because I have kind of a empathic psychic sense about things. I went outside. That's how I find a lot of these pictures in the first place. I just have a general area where I know they're at. Went outside and took a few pictures, and lo and behold, one of them I had like a blue face being show up in it, and then it disappeared in the next photo seconds later. And then some other weird things, paranormal things, came home one day, and all of a sudden my chair was flipped over. There was no wind that day. My camp chair was flipped over, and the blue tarp that I had secured over my wood pile was completely pulled off too, within the space of 3 hours during the middle of the day. And this all coincided with this. So I'm thinking that
that's
somehow,
interesting, because a lot of people think it's only night. You know what I mean?
Yes. And so with the spinning magnetics, I've had two other people says so. The reason I had a clue about this is because we know of one other individual who's had access to a portal, went down to a place where there's high energy. For instance, I'll give an example: the Oregon vortex, or maybe possibly in the Montana vortex, and been able to. They call it just getting some juju on it, but it's really the. What I think is happening is that energy is shaping us basically, or affecting our aura, or becoming part of that, and then when you leave, that residual is activating that portal. So that made me wonder about the fact that you could probably change your own aura based on the electromagnetics, or even the Earth's magnetics through a vortex. So I had some friends come over, and we had my bigger wheel machine that was running. We stood near it, and me and the other gal, Anita, my other friend Anita, who's been going up with me on Sundays, we went up, and I had my camera with me, and we started taking pictures, and I noticed a distinct difference in the pictures. They become more colorful. The colors were more brilliant. It's almost like we kind of were phasing ourselves closer to where they were at. In other words, we were tuning in more to what they would be at frequency-wise. And I noticed a distinct increase in the number of images of different beings that were showing up on the photographs, you know. And so that kind of led to some things that I remember a lot of things over the course of the years. And I do remember with that background, with the fact that you use radionics to affect you. I remember Art Bell Coast to Coast program, which you're very familiar with, but this is in the days of Art Bell in the late 90s. He had a guest on named Stephen Gibbs. Stephen Gibbs created what they call the hyperdimensional resonator, or HDR for short, and this is it right here. And I think the key thing he was talking to Art Bell was about what this device can do. How he got it is, you can dispute how he got this in the first place, or the plans to build it. He claimed it was just someone from the future, literally, that came and gave him this idea to build this thing. He has been using it.
So that was the claim? That somebody from the future?
Yeah, somebody from the future, or someone, or a future self, or something.
Future self, yeah, that's what I was
going to ask. You could really call that really out there.
Oh, love that. Love it. That's what I want to hear.
But you know what? It's like, and what my research did, what this thing does, I literally purchased this a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Okay, I literally had a conversation with Stephen Gibbs for a good hour. It was an awesome. You would either think this guy was the craziest person in the world, or you'd literally have to say to yourself, you just can't make this stuff up.
I know a lot of radionics people, and this stuff's for real. And let me ask, can I ask the price?
$360.
$360?
Yes.
That's not bad, because, you got the wishing machine, which is like under $200, or depending on what you get. And then you have other ones that are $8,000, $80,000, $100,000, $5,000. They can go crazy with these radionics machines.
Yes.
But this one is kind of a little beyond, isn't it? Correct?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had a chance to actually look at the schematics on the inside. Now, people know my background in Bigfoot, but I'm also a programmer by trade. And before that, I was in electronics. I had a second-class commercial radio telephone license, and actually repaired 2 equipment. So I have a background in electronics. I have a full shop
And he
might
knows
hate.
all about. I mean, any question we have IT-wise or computer,
Oh,
anything we have to.
Yeah,
we
I'm
have to
kind of
ask
like this
Samantha.
up. Yeah. So I actually was able to watch some YouTube videos on them dissecting this and seeing the plans. And the secret behind this is it's not really a complex circuit in here. But what the interesting thing about it is that it utilizes your aura to actually tune the device. And the coil here is basically what they call a caduceus coil. And the caduceus coil, if you check on Google, there's some interesting things that talk about the fact that it can actually affect time space. It can actually affect, it actually produces scalar waves. Scalar waves in turn kind of affect time and space. So that being the case, that's what's underneath this part right here, what they call the rubbing plate. So what I'm going to do basically is demonstrate how this is used and kind of go through all that. And I've only used it about 3 times. I didn't, this thing is an integral part. Once this is tuned, this thing is actually used, which is a barium magnet.
That's interesting.
It's energized, and then the suggested use is this placed right down here in the solar plex, which I believe is right about here, and hold it for about 3 minutes, and then utilize it. Now,
What do you mean? For the intent to go through, or
3 minutes, and then you turn it off and set it aside, and then the fun starts after the fact.
Oh, interesting.
So basically, he has a 10-page manual right here, and won't go through everything, but you know, basically it could be a healing device. You have the ability to do remote healing based on, and these, you know, honestly, I'm just repeating. I'm not making these claims. I'm just repeating what the manual says. So let's make that perfectly clear. I haven't validated anything in particular about this. I'm doing research.
Well, you
on
just
this.
got it. Yeah, you're checking it out.
Yeah, so I'm testing some theories that I have and so you can actually use this witness well to put someone's hair in and theoretically tune it and send out intention, set the magnet here and turn it on for 3 minutes, and you could do remote healing. This is also integral in helping to increase the psychic sense of a person to actually allow astral travel, or to make it easier. So you're actually pumping you're using this kind of like a crutch for our lack of ability and increasing our own ability. I think at some point using this device, if in fact it does work the way it needs to, it can actually increase our ability as humans to do what the Sasquatch can do with some of the cryptids.
And I'm so sorry, at the very first conference that I met you both at, I actually had, from a radionics maker, Dr. Mulder out there, he created for me a Biggie box. And it was a tiny radionics box that was portable that you could go at, and it was to draw the Bigfoot in, and we called it the Biggie box. And we gave out 3 prototypes, and 3 people were supposed to tell us what was going on, and those 3 people have never gotten back to us. I don't know if they found more research and it worked or not, but you know, it sounds like, I wish we would have given you one. That's all. Wish we would have given you one and Ron one.
And I'm sure it has something to do with electromagnetics as well.
It's all radionics. It's all radionics. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
And that's exactly what the spinning magnets do. It produces vortexes, and I think it does attract them in. It's like sending a light beacon out for them to come in. So it's the curiosity factor. It says, what's drawing the unusual energy coming from this particular part of the forest or in Greenwater?
Yeah, right. And Ron, what are you thinking of all this so far? I want you to interject as you can.
You learn more by listening. It's why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. No, I'm interested because I believe in frequencies, and if you can change the frequency, the vibration of an entity to match yours, you can communicate with it. And that's why a lot of people have more Bigfoot encounters at night, I think, because their energy frequency lowers to something more vibrational, closer to the Earth's frequency, which I think these Sasquatch people, or whatever they are, perhaps are in tune with that same energy. And everything's a vibrational frequency.
Oh, yeah.
And if this can work with that and get on that same tune, and that's how, well, I don't want to say miracles, but that's how, quote-unquote, miracles are done, is by getting on the same frequency, and you can communicate with that entity.
Well, he is going to show you, or Samantha is going to show you everything about this machine, and we're just going to follow along, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
let me disappear or something.
Yeah. See
If you
y'all
can raise-
later.
If you can raise your vibrational frequency high enough, you can disappear. But we haven't learned how to do that.
Wow.
So.
Unless you want to be the victim.
Yeah, we can use you first.
Give me
Guinea
that
pig.
magnet, man, and I'll stick it on.
Well, there's two steps to this, and we're not necessarily going to use the magnet and actually use it, and then 3 minutes later have us phase out or something.
Come on, beam
Okay.
us up.
Let's do
Come
it.
on.
It's the 31st, according to the instructions, and certain days that anything that factors out to a 4 or 8 is not a good idea. Until it's the 31st with factors to 4, it says not a good thing to happen. So what we
man.
want to do, we'll turn it on though, and
Okay.
we'll demonstrate with
We'll
this
demonstrate
magnet.
on it going through.
Yeah,
Right,
well, okay,
viewing.
okay.
Okay, cool. He has volunteered, everybody, so I
All
don't want
right,
to put
so
that
the first
claimer. If
thing we're gonna
anything
do,
happens
it's
where
always
Ron
easier.
disappears, he
The
already
first
said
thing
okay.
to do is let's go around the head,
Really.
and with this in the back, and it should fit. This is applied over the third eye right here. Okay,
Pineal.
pineal gland. Okay, so that's what they call the time coil.
If all of a sudden you don't see me, you'll know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't have camouflage on, so.
Now we're not doing any remote healing or anything. So normally they have this double terminated crystal that goes into what they call the witness well, and basically it has a coil, I think, around that. So it's all tied together.
Can
So
we see that
you're at-
crystal one more time? I'm sorry, I
Oh,
missed
sorry.
it. And it's a beautiful crystal. It's a very nice
I
size
think you
crystal.
should use it.
It's a beautiful crystal. Handpicked by you?
Oh no, actually, this comes in the kit.
Oh, okay.
So you get a crystal with that, and it just simply goes in here. So the witness well is used for different purposes.
Gotcha.
And basically what we're going to do is we're going to tune it. So basically we have an intention. If you want to have an intention for healing, for instance, you could verbalize that, or just concentrate to yourself that what this is doing basically, and the combination of rubbing this plate, is we're going to find a setting that closest matches your intention. Okay, so you don't have to verbalize it. Just focus and meditate on your intention, what you want, and then what I'm going to have you do, the left or right hand, probably the right hand, so I'm going to turn on these two switches. The red, if you turn on all three, it activates the magnet. But keep in mind, this whole thing is circuit already. It's already going through the whole circuit. So I'm going to turn on this, and you'll see the light comes on. Oh yeah, please. It's not going to electrocute you. Nice play, Ron. You almost had me going for a split second. Turn the thing off.
Headband, my headband.
Okay. All right, now. So what was really intriguing, I wanted to see this idea of the sticking plate. Feel it. Okay, let's just feel it right now to see. Does it seem to run pretty easy? Okay, pretty easy. Now, just without really thinking about it, just rub it where it's nice and smooth like that, back and forth.
That's what she
And-
said.
And I'm going to turn this dial until you think you can actually feel it kind of sticking.
Sorry.
And at some point,
Stick it.
well, hold on.
Stick it.
You feel it sticking?
Yeah, it was not smooth like it was.
Tell me when it just feels like glue.
It was like glue.
Yeah, where it just feels like you can't do it anymore.
It's almost getting. You're not sucking me out here, are you? This is real?
Yeah. Tell me when it just feels like you just.
I don't know how. It's getting. Okay, it's
About
really-
there?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, go ahead and pick your hand up, and we're going to do the other
I feel a
dial.
tingling in my head.
Okay, now, we're not starting the process here. We're just doing
It's
the
not going
dial.
to disappear, am I?
No. Okay, now start right. Go
Some
ahead.
people will miss me right now, you know.
Okay. Go ahead and put your hand back on. We're just going. Okay, feel it again, just to see if you rub around it like that. And then I just tune this until it just like sticks again. Feels
Okay,
about right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So what, and of course you get closer, ballpark. I think that what happens is you get better at this and fine tuning the device for your intention, and then
And that's
finally,
just tuning the frequency. Is that correct?
that's tuning the frequency, and you're using your own psychic yourself to do that. So once you're done with it, you don't necessarily have to have that on your head at this point. You can take this
No,
off.
but let's do it just to make him look like that.
Well, I've done it with it on. So
I got a feather if you want me to stick it in.
all right, we're going to go ahead and let me take this
You
magnet
can
out.
take it all if you want.
Hang on. We have this, it's on the outside, okay. Well, I use this for to demonstrate the fact that the magnet works. So if you turn this on, feel that? Okay.
Are you?
Now this is a south pole right here, and it attracts. So what you want to make sure this is north pole. So there's it's repelling. It's a north pole to north pole.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was very important that this was the north pole.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn that off for a second. Now if you want to hold it, you can hold it and kind of hold it down to the solar plexus. We're not going to do it very long, Ron. We're not going to, we don't want to, we're experimenting with this thing, It looks like it's like he's got this flush feeling, like I don't know what to expect.
And I don't either,
Now,
because
if
is this on me if something
kind of weird
happens?
you out, I'll turn it off, okay?
If you can reach it.
All right. It's on. Do you feel any kind of a pulling sensation or anything like that?
No. You're supposed to have a magnet inside your heart, though, or something?
No. You got down the solar plex, right? Okay. You just hold it there. Well, we're going to do about 30 seconds. We're not going to go full 3 minutes.
Why?
And not everybody feels it
feels
either. I mean, your
Okay.
pineal gland might need to be much, you
Calcified.
might, yeah.
Well, it will help
you need
to.
better thoughts.
Well, let me look my mind.
Okay.
Heat kit. Does that work?
It could help. Yeah.
Am I pixelated yet? If I get pixelated, your camera.
I didn't have a timer to actually show how long we're doing this, so
It's all right. We can
give it
estimate.
about a bit.
Yeah.
So you kind of describe if you're feeling anything as it's going. Don't feel any sensation whatsoever? Or?
No.
Okay. And what's interesting is when we do turn it off, and we'll just shut it all off, and then we'll talk about some, a little bit further, and you let us know if you're starting to feel anything after the fact or anything. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people with radionics don't feel anything whatsoever, or any of the accessories that go with these. But then the results are what are telling.
Me, it's very sensitive to it because I've actually felt. I put it right here, and then after 30, I could feel it pulling. I
You're
could feel it
empathic,
pulling to it.
very much
Yeah,
so.
it's like, or it's actually very strong to like pulls into it a little
It
bit.
depends how much iron you have in your diet.
It could.
Did you look on a bike handle earlier, or what? All the bike handles growing up always were full of rust. That's all I remember.
You want to keep going, or you want to stop?
I don't feel anything.
It's been about a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You may not feel anything immediately.
You may not. You might just get results.
Well, what kind of results am I going to get?
Well, what was your intent?
Oh,
To heal?
See, that was the intention. Right?
Maybe you didn't really give an intent.
actually, I was hoping to disappear. Then it reproved
No,
everything.
that won't work.
Oh, that
Yeah,
won't work.
yeah.
Not yet.
I'll
Samantha's
discuss-
working
I'll
on it.
Let me
discuss
get
a
my
couple
other
of-
intention going here.
Okay, get your intention going.
Well, that's
But you
what the
have to-
tuning was for.
Yeah, the tuning, you'll have to retune
Yeah,
for a new
that's-
intention.
I might have been thinking about that.
But at the very least, it would be useful for the radionics portion of tuning. You about ready to stop? We've been about 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to shut it off now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're going to shut it off. Okay, so I'm going to just shut her all off here.
Well, you got all three of them on.
Yeah. One. Just
Yeah,
one. No,
for
no,
that.
you have to have all three of them on.
So,
But there are certain things that the interesting part about it. What we were doing today was just a basic intention for healing, whether it happens or not.
but you have to have the one person with their intent clear.
You got to have a very clear intent and
Yeah.
meditate that. There
And that's
are
how you find out if the goal works. That's how you find
Yeah.
out success. Yeah.
now this thing has been claimed for actual astral travel, and there are some specific things. You never use this at night because some could have some undesired results. You also have to worry about attracting the wrong entities, that might be associated with the etherics. Because what you're doing, anytime you're increasing your psychic abilities, you have to be aware that certain devices, so a Ouija board is a device, for instance, you got to be very careful about that. I would never attribute anything as good or evil, but you can certainly call in the wrong entities if you're not careful.
So now I know these machines as putting in an intention, and then you can kind of let it go after the intention's gone, because it'll continue if you leave it on where
Yeah.
some of them you got to turn on, some of them you don't. But that intention continues to go on and on and on and on, where you don't have to think about it. That
No,
box will do the
right.
work for you, right?
It's basically aligning your aura with that intention, and even after the box is off, it's staying with you. So you just sit and relax somewhere, and then let it work on you.
Okay.
The two other elements that are important, and I'm not doing it this time, but there are specific things that if you want to go the distance, like astral travel would be during the day, you can actually do astral travel. They do suggest that you don't go. A lot of it goes back to like early technology, or in the days when there are certain days you don't do certain things and rest, and anything factors to a 4 or an 8. Like today is the 31st, I believe. That factors out to be a 4, so we may not want to use it for astral travel. I think healing's okay. But you can actually, it's been claimed to do, Stephen Gibbs claims to do physical time travel with this as well. You can also do co-location. And what's important with that is that to get enough energy out of this device to work with you, you got to locate a vortex and actually perform this over an energy vortex.
So you got to find one of those first.
You got to find one of those and position yourself
Wow.
with this over it, because and then once it's done, then the claim is, I'm going to always go back to the claim is that you'll go rest somewhere and all of a sudden things turn white, and then all of a sudden it's just like someone just changed the scene and you're somewhere else.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Whether it's co-location or not.
Okay.
I will say that I think in Connie Willis, I always maybe mess his name up or in it. One of the things he mentioned, and this is why it's so important, that one person who was practicing the Eastern religions was able to focus. He was sitting. Do you remember the story? He was sitting in his chair and his widescreen. He disappeared, and he like went somewhere else and he came back or something like. Oh no, he just simply disappeared. He cloaked on her. That was actually mentioned in her book. But James Gilliland, who you'll be interviewing here Saturday.
Saturday
From
on
the
Coast.
SETI.
On Coast to Coast.
He mentioned, I do remember him mentioning that there was in one of his videos that I listened to in the past where, actually someone that was doing some of the practice work of meditation, I don't know if it was there or somewhere else, but he was here in the States, and he just kind of co-located out and ended up in Korea.
Oh, wow.
And had to get a ticket to get back home.
That's really cool.
I mean, I wish I could know exactly where I know it came from him as a source, and he would know that if you were asking him about it.
Well, how do you see, like, you know Ron's background.
Yeah.
How do you see where you and Ron, let's say you guys went on some expedition somewhere, how would you see that you both could use this together? And Ron, tell your thoughts as Samantha describes what this might be used with you guys out and going on an expedition together. What do you think? How would you use this?
I'll start just some application. This is an extension of me wanting to be able to access a portal, and by my aura, which I believe these portals are put there a long time ago, and they have access methods. And part of that might be either through a sound vibration of some sort, like a series of tones, or could be it's only allowing certain beings with certain auras that can actually activate them and go through them. Because I know definitely there's some in the Cascades, and more specifically the one in my habituation area that seems to have all sorts of beings, including something that basically looked like an alien woman of some sorts that came through, all within 15 feet of the portal that I saw back in 2014.
So, what do you think to use that together? Do you think that this is something that you guys would be able to do together?
Yeah.
Well, possible. I think it's very interesting, and I'm listening to every word you're saying about it. Because if this can do some of the stuff, it gets right into vibration again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a heavy believer in quantum physics and the vibrational frequencies that everything puts out, everything. And we got to tune into that. We can tune into the right entities, like the ones I was dealing with in the Sierras. I think they have possibly a very, very complex vocal mechanism, it possibly can create frequencies that maybe if we could find out what those frequencies are, we could communicate better.
It could literally be part of their language.
It could
The words are vibration. They could be
exactly,
the key.
Exactly.
You know?
It could be. Yeah. And it's just, why did any of this happen to me years ago and still happening today? Is the question people ask. It's a question I have to ask myself, unless it isn't to discover more and try to bring out enlightenment to people that think they see it all when they look at something. There's more to it. There's more to everything than what you're seeing with your eyes. You got to learn how to read with your other eye, your third eye, and that's the one we communicate with God and how He communicates with us, how we're led into things.
Yeah.
And if we can experience that and clean up, decalcify our pineal gland, I like that right there part, because I think there is a physical connection to this entity that created us. We're made in His image. So if we can get into the vibrational frequency aspect of it, and it sounds like that's what this unit does, we might be able to discover something more scientific that people would maybe hold on to and believe, because unless they experience something unusual themselves, they just don't want to believe it. And yet if you can put a science behind it and show it scientifically, well, they might get a hold of it better, because people put you off in the la-la land sometimes, and I think I'm very grateful that I had the experience I've had and I'm having now, but I want other people to share it and know that there's more going on, and I think possibly something like this could be a little breaking through. I'd like very much to get maybe Joe Hauser, Montana Vortex, involved. He's got pictures of entities that you did not see with your eyes, but people took pictures of them in this vortex.
Oh, yes.
Ghost-like figures.
I've had some of those effects with the bending of light and the twisting of trees and the things that are physical indicators of vortexes that do exist.
Vortexes exist. I mean, that's a fact. NASA discovered, I mentioned this earlier when I was in an interview with you, NASA's been studying vortexes since for a couple of years now, several years. And they exist. So for people to say, oh, that's woo-woo, no, they just are uninformed. And you need to read and study and get the information before you start calling people crazy, or they're off in Lululand or something, because there's just a matter of getting understanding. It's not paranormal, it's just understanding what is normal. If you can just understand it, won't be paranormal anymore. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, that's there. I said.
And I always like what I said earlier. I said paranormal, or if you want to call it woo, it's just simply science that has not been understood yet. That's pure and simple. That's why people are called heretics in the past, because he said the world was round, and everybody, the authorities were saying it was flat. They just didn't understand.
Well, right now, if we were 400 years ago, they'd probably burn us at the stake.
Oh, yeah, probably. Witchcraft.
Yeah, it's witchcraft. That's what it is.
Oh, it's absolutely true. But you know what I enjoy about all this too is not only do we learn who we are as individuals, we learn who we are as humans, we learn who we are to the universe as humans, but you know, it's fun, it stretches your mind, you really get deep into things, and you're not arguing politics. This is great.
How we're connected as humans, how we're connected as one energy. Once we pass from this, we're connected again with that creative energy that's out there. We are made to be creators, and I think we have a long way to go before we're really walking on water.
And, you know, another way to look at this, too, is when people sometimes just see you, Ron, or even just see you now, Samantha, as Bigfooters or forest friend people, you're really beyond that. These are just the ways you guys got turned on to this, and now you're like, what else is there, you know?
That was just a start into a bigger world than just that, you know?
Right, right. And that's where I want people to not go, oh, they're Bigfooters, and let me turn it off. It's not that. I mean, you guys can you guys kind of talk about that a little bit more?
The quantum world and the spirituality world are synonymous to me, because I was raised around religion. I'm not a religious person now, but definitely a spiritual person. I think we are all spiritual beings, and we have that in us, which is related to quantum physics. The laws of quantum physics go right along with the words of spirituality that we hear and read about in ancient texts. So I think studying ancient texts will help us. Not putting other people off that have difference of opinion, just listening to them, because there's nuggets of truth in a lot of things if we just pick it up. And we have within us to perceive the truth.
What is each of your actual goals in life when it comes to these studies and researches, the things that you guys are into? What's the goal? What's where you know you've gotten success?
I will say that when you're raised from a child to a certain age, and then you're told your entire life this is the way it's so. Like everything's planned for you. The government says it's like this. The schools say it's like this. Your church or religion tells you it's like this, and a lot of times if you want to question it, they don't say, "Oh, that's not good." However, by being exposed to the things that do go against that, that logic that says, yes, you should question everything. You should question everything in your world, because the goal, in my opinion, is to break free from the matrix. And this is going to help. I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. I'm a truth seeker. And I am not going to just sit on my laurels, as the expression goes, and just, I hate the expression, it is what it is. No, it isn't what it is. And we have to, we're made to learn and explore. I think Source or God, does God know everything? Well, if God knew everything, he'd be pretty bored. God wants to learn and experience himself and grow. And we need to do the same thing. We need to get ourselves out of that little narrow area, window of perception, and see all the other things that are out there that we're not seeing. And we need to find a way to get there, no matter what.
You're saying God is learning.
Yes.
Is
I
he
disagree
continuing?
with
Okay.
Well, maybe it's
Go
a
for
different
it. Let's hear your
perspective.
side.
God is experiencing itself to continue to evolve, just like we're evolving.
Or maybe we're evolving.
I should rephrase that.
Maybe we're evolving in his big giant
I
world.
might upset people a little bit
I
if
bet
I make
he's
that statement.
right. And what's your thought on that, Ron?
Well, I think God knows everything, and I think he doesn't exist in time as we do in this dimension anyway. And really my goal in this thing is enlightenment, to learn more so I can maybe present more that people will accept that there is a spiritual part of our being, like we are spiritual beings inhabiting a body, and the energy does change out of this and goes somewhere else. So religion calls that heaven, quantum physics calls it dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think there's so many parallels in those two things, and if I can bring those two sciences together, similar to the way Einstein taught, he said science without religion is lame, religion without science is blind. I think we could say it now, he would say spirituality instead of religion, because religion is sometimes considered a cult. I don't want to down religion because it's got a lot of good points about it. It's good social media for people, but as long as it's not brainwashing them, you've got to keep an open mind to experiencing new things. That's why we're here. We're here to experience and to learn. And if you're not learning, like another saying, when you're green you grow, when you're ripe you rot. So
When you're ripe, you rot.
when you're ripe you rot.
You're at the end of the
It's
road.
true.
So
Yeah.
you got to stay green and start learning.
Stay green.
Stay green, my friend.
So do the blue rocker, and then say, "Stay green."
Stay green.
Stay green.
But
I love it.
At the very least, anything below God, where it could be disputable about God being all knowing. Of course, the Bible says that. But everything beneath God is learning or evolving back to God.
Yeah, and we're just a
the
little
evolution
bitty
back.
piece of all that. I mean, what's around us that we have no idea, all the complexities and what else is going on.
We
We're
know
just,
so
we're so
little.
primitive. We're so tiny.
What's the expression? The more we learn, the more we know we don't know.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's
It's like
it.
playing a guitar.
Yeah.
You can't get it all.
No.
No matter how much you think you got.
The
there's-
more
there's
you
more.
practice and play, you think, the more you down yourself. So I just don't play as good as that person. So,
And that person thinks the same thing.
yeah, it's just everybody plays it differently. You don't play it better. You just have a different style. And this thing, every person is different. That's the unique thing I think about growth and evolution. evolutionary paths for every entity or every person is different. It's a different path of enlightenment. You know?
We're all evolving. We're all
Yeah.
evolving, not involving.
Evolving, not devolving. Yeah.
Okay, one quick last thing before we go and let everybody go back to enjoying the bash. And I want to ask you separately, but please talk to amongst each other. You know, ask each other questions about it if you
All right.
want. But give me your, give me each one of you all your most incredible, most memorable, most touchable, you know, to yourselves event that's ever happened that you just can't explain. What's the most favorite of all that you still think about and it still affects you in a way like, wow, what the, you know?
Well, it's easy for me. I mean, the Sierra camp in the 70s, when
what
these
you
things
heard,
were within
yeah.
feet of us, making these sounds and noises, and the phenomena that went along with them that seemed to be right along with it. You can't explain some of it. And again, until somebody else experiences something, they can call it paranormal, they can call it whatever they want, but until they experience it themselves, they're never going to get it, or never want to try to get it.
So tell me just, you know, briefly again, but get into the good stuff of those neat little things that happened in the 70s. And please ask him what you want to about it.
Well,
I mean, you...
I got a whole book about that stuff.
Yeah,
You
that's
do.
It's called Voices in the Wilderness. No.
But I mean,
wouldn't you
here
say
you...
that the intriguing thing was that you found language components with the...
Yeah, now we knew as laymen that they were communicating between each other. After a while, we realized that they weren't just trying to intimidate us, but they were actually communicating, maybe trying to intimidate one of the other ones, or maybe trying to get a young one to not be quite so bold. We don't know for sure everything is going on in their minds. That's for a fact. To find out that they had an actual language by a cryptolinguist who was trained by the military, thousands of hours under the headset, learning new languages, learning what it takes, very well vetted by the chief knowledge officer of the United States. And he's a two-time graduate of that school, and for him to say they have a language, by the human definition of language, and if you don't know what that is, that's important. It's a morphine stream of accumulation of words that make a cognizant sentence. And unless you've got that, it's not language by the human definition. These things have language by the human definition. So really what we have to ask ourselves is, human definition, what does that mean? What does that really mean? It means to me that they are sapient. Not just cognizant, not sentient, but sapient. Sapience is only ascribed to humans. And humans are supposed to be the only entities on this earth with sapience. Homo sapiens sapiens, wisest of the wise. Well, if these things have sapience, that makes them part human. You get any of the mitochondrial DNA that's coming from so far from the geneticist that says, well, they're human. The rest of it's got to be contaminated because it's human. Well, maybe they really are part human. I believe them to be hybrids. And we're hybrids too, as far as that goes. So
I agree with that.
if these things are hybrids, and that puts them into, if they have copulated and got mixed in with indigenous people over the eons of time, that would make some of them more human than others. Maybe some of them don't have the same attributes that others have. I got off on all that.
And Samantha, is there ever anything you've ever wanted to ask Ron about that, or anything you wanted to ever say to him about those experiences? I mean,
Bring
how
it
has it
on,
made?
Sam.
That's right.
Well,
Sing it again, Sam.
yeah, no, it's just
It's amazing work.
you know, I just kind of been following. Of course, this happened back in the 70s, I think. You know,
Close
and,
in stuff, did you?
and you had the opportunity on in search of to bring up some of that information. I believe back Leonard Nimoy. I did watch that, and I did.
You were on In
some
Search
the
of?
early- Yeah,
Albert
yeah.
With Leonard?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't.
Oh, not.
You
Oh,
weren't?
you weren't.
No, it was Al Berry. Well, I think we might have been mentioned. The
Oh,
story
it
is
could have
brought
been
up
mentioned,
in the
okay.
book, but
Oh, okay.
Al Berry was the forefront of all the studies that went on with us, and
Oh, okay.
he's the one he was a professional that was trying to establish credibility with all this
Gotcha.
stuff that was so difficult
Oh,
for
okay.
him.
Yeah.
I was just part of the hunting group, having fun with it actually. And it wasn't until later when Albert and I became close friends that we started talking about it and going to conferences and really getting into it. Albert passed away in 2012. I'm still carrying the torch, and I'm loving it. It's just it's so exciting to be part of this understanding.
And there's another key of Peter. I don't want to say his last name.
Right.
He told me that.
Great.
Camper X. No, I'm talking about another person. I call him Camper X because I'll go by Peter. He's very particular about his last name being mentioned, but he's the one that's doing it. He spoke at the conference, and one of the conferences we had back in April, about languages and the connection.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, the connection, how some of the words that he's been listening to Sierra Sounds and then breaking them down to some of the ancient languages and things. So there might be a connection with that.
All right, that's very good. I'm glad you brought that up.
And I believe he's actually coming here. I talked to Alyssa, and he
okay.
might be showing up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to mention his last name when he gets on.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, you can't go on because
I
it's all
try
video
so hard
here.
not to,
it's video,
yeah.
but you're good. You're doing good.
I just said Jay. I didn't go.
It'll say
All
that
right.
you're safe here. You know, we got proof that you did good.
yeah.
So what
It's
is?
into the Santex, the oldest language known, and he's been able to really.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's studying the Sierra Sounds. He brought that up to me a couple of years ago.
Excellent.
Yeah,
And,
he's still researching. Yeah.
Because he thinks he knows what someone might be trying to say.
I
But
can't wait.
again, it's all been convoluted over the eons, and possibly adulterated, with the different languages.
And he
That's
honestly, he's been using some of the words that he's been correlating and going out in my area called the Field of Dreams, and has had incredible experiences of them coming down and having the mind speak, and in his car and everything. So there has been reactions to using these words, like almost like amazement of the fact that he actually understood some of the words they actually used. He actually presented me with 2 or 3 sheets of words that had the different meanings of these words that they would probably understand. So it'd be worth, pursuing talking to him in that particular area.
Well, I hope you're still here when he arrives.
Yeah, I have to speak at a conference this weekend, so I'll be taking off.
You're just so busy.
It's a fun busy, though.
I know it is. It is. And Samantha, what is something that you found that is, along the way that sticks out the most, the event for you? And Ron, I'd like you to, ask Samantha anything about that you may have wanted to ask.
When you start out, I never thought I would be here versus 4 years ago. I didn't even think I'd even be on coast to coast.
That was excellent, huh? Cool.
Yeah, or that I'd be, here talking to you like this. Although we,
Thanks.
But the thing is, what really was the life-changing event was seeing something that you'd only see in a sci-fi movie. The light, it just ingrains in your brain when you see orange lights like this, these 4 of them suspended above the trail that's glowing and pulsating, and you're not you're not hallucinating, and getting within 15 feet of it and watching this, and then turning your head and see an orb, about a beach ball size orb in the daylight, moving and going inside of this thing in real time, mind you, not just after the fact I took a picture. It had the most awesome, I stayed with me. I thought about it every day. It just destroyed my reality. And then to top that off, and I'm just going to say this briefly, it's just the other thing that, like, the next shock therapy was a camper by the name of John that I mentioned in my in my publication, was able to point in the sky and say, "You've got something to see here, watch this," and point out a star in the sky like this, and move his finger and cause that thing to move with his finger, and like that. The manipulation of a light in the sky. Now, think to yourself, what if you saw something like that? What would be going through your mind?
Well, that we are creators, and he's learned how to do it.
He's learned, and that further solidified my ability. Here's a man who's got special abilities. That what is different between me and him? DNA, maybe some other things. We can get there. But obviously, he was manipulating a UFO. He was manipulating a star. He pointed out it was kind of a faint star, but it was a UFO. And he had some way to be able to connect with that UFO and move it with his finger or control it. He had a repercussion of it later on, but that's another story.
And you don't know anywhere where this guy is anymore, do you?
He lived in the woods. He was a former, you were trying to get.
I was trying to get him,
He
yeah.
was the guy that you were trying to. last I heard, he took off. He doesn't like to be around civilization. I don't think he can.
I
dwell
think
with
he's an
civilization.
actual alien, like Dr.
I asked
David
him.
Jacobs
Let me
claims.
I asked him, I said, who are you? And it says, when he was a kid, his mother gave him up to a home because she didn't like how he was moving pencils from across the table through telekinetics. He was moving pencils.
She thought she had Carrie's baby and was like
pretty
getting
much,
rid of it. Whoa.
like, you know, people will attribute anything they don't understand as us demonic if you got a religious background.
Right.
So
Burn them at the stake.
burn them at the stake. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he might have just been, an alien amongst us, as
And he had,
Jacobs talks about.
and on top of that, he also had direct interaction with his girlfriend and his daughter. That because of his abilities, they were attracting the Sasquatch in right around all over the place.
So you have no clue where he is, but we hope
I
to
tried
find him.
his latest contacts. He just kind of disappeared into Colorado. He could be heading back. He could be in Texas. I have no idea where he's at.
Wow. Well, on that note, this
Let me
is.
say one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Last year I was at the Sierra Camp, 2016, with Carrie and Wood Knox, all the crazy stuff. Didn't hear any vocalizations, but before we went to sleep, I watched this elongated light, about this long, glowing, work its way through the trees. And that's a little mind concerning, because you don't know if they're coming at you, if they're going to kidnap her, or do something to me, or what they're going to do. Because we watched it for several seconds, her and I both. About 40 feet away, about 40, 50 feet away, and it just went manipulated, controlled through the trees, and settled in down way to here about 100 yards, 100 feet away, I guess it was, and then dissipated. Now, I'm just saying, I don't know what that was. She talked about lights, orbs.
Yeah.
It's not surprising up there, because there's something going on, and it has gone up there for years and years. And
That's an amazing spot. Now, okay, did you have what did you feel? Did you feel like it was a safe thing?
Up
Did you get
there,
any feeling from it?
Well, I have learned, and I don't like to say this, Carrie said it, but I've learned to control fear. And I think your only enemy on this earth is fear. So if you have
Yes.
fear, chances are you're going to do something crazy. So I don't have fear. My concern, and if you want to call it fear, you can call it fear, but I don't think it was fear. It's just, what is this going through there? Is what's it going to do? Didn't really have any high-powered guns. Not that I could have shot whatever it was anyway, but not that I'd ever want to. I don't think about shooting something like that, or even a Bigfoot. If you got that in your head, chances are nothing's going to happen. It's who you are as a person and what you're thinking and what the aura that you're putting out that they read. What it was doing there, I don't know. There was something else happened that night, but I didn't witness it.
But I don't even mean your fear. What did you feel off of it? Did you get a vibe from it that it was strong, that it was intelligent, that it
was intelligent.
You got that?
I don't know about the strength, but it was definitely intelligent. It wasn't. The trees won't let you even see the skyline as far as where we're at. So it wasn't an airplane. And then some people, well, it was probably an airplane. No, it was not an airplane. I know what an airplane looks like. I'm a pilot myself, so believe me, I know those things.
Well, isn't it amazing that you can actually, like when I've been around the Sasquatch, I picked up intelligence, highly intelligent. Isn't it amazing that you can pick up intelligence? You can pick up the fact that something is more intelligent than you.
Oh, I picked that up in the woods all the
Yeah.
time. Isn't
that amazing? You don't
whether
pick
it's
it
coming
up.
from trees or from there's intelligence going on
Yeah,
all over the
you don't
place.
pick it up with animals. If you run across a bear, a bobcat, a dog, whatever, you don't pick
Yeah.
up. That is higher intelligence of me. But when you do pick up something that is a higher intelligence of yourself, you know it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know it. It's an
How do
amazing
you feel
feeling.
around us right now, Connie?
I don't feel any of that at all.
No,
I
you mean our
do.
intelligence.
I do. I
know.
do. On that note, this is Ron Morehead and Samantha Ellen Ritchie,
How we doing?
Blue
Oh
Rockers
yeah.
here
Oh, you like this?
at
There you go.
Blue Rocker Bash 2017. Thanks you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Rock
Thanks.
on, Blue Rockers.
Yeah.